Oh, as I wipe away my tears. That's a lot, dang. Son of a gun. I'm crying over here. I'm crying over onions. So guys, as you know, one of my most favorite things to cut is the onion. And it's something that I cut very often on my channel as a way to demonstrate the knives. And I get a couple of questions, and I've found a lot of videos about the approach that I use for dicing onions. And if everybody knows, an onion kind of looks like this little cross section here, and you've got all the individual layers. And whenever you dice an onion like this, when you cut across, you get perfect little sizes, all even, pretty much no issues. Basically, they all turn into little squares when you cut through, like this. There we go, like that. Okay. So no big deal. Cut a small section like that, you'll run into no issues. Whenever you do a large dice, and that's what we'll do here, cutting through. Typically you'll see when I do a fine dice, I'll do lateral cuts, and I'll do my longitudinal cuts, and then when I do a dice, just like that, they come out pretty even. You'll have some pieces potentially that may not get cut all the way through. You'll have some pieces near the edge that haven't been scored. And you can, for the most part, clean these up. It's not a big deal. But roughly, aside from some of the pieces like this, they'll all be around the same size, which works for the majority of the things that you're going to be cooking. But let's take a look at the fine dice. So let's go ahead and take another onion. And we're going to do a fine dice without going through and doing the lateral cuts. So we'll just do the very front of it. Okay. And I'm usually standing over this when I do it, so my cuts are a little bit more precise than as I'm doing it here. But as long as the knife is sharp, you're typically going to be using the little front tip part of your knife when you're doing this. Okay, so you've got your long cuts across, okay? And then when people do a fine dice, they'll cut into the onion like that, okay? Now for me, this works okay, but there's usually some pieces in here that kind of get at me a little bit. For the most part, I think this all comes down to preference. But there's usually, some of these pieces that kind of look a little bit long for me. It's nothing major. As long as your cuts are even and consistent, you won't typically run into much. But, there's a few pieces that you may run into that are a little long. Oh, let's see, you can't see that one. That are a little long, something like that. I mean, it's minor, nothing major at all. Okay, and now we'll try with the lateral cuts. So here we go. And I'll usually start with my lateral cuts. So this one will take a little bit more. It's probably a little bit dangerous because you're cutting with the edge towards your finger, okay? Or towards your guide hand, the one that's holding the onion. With a sharp knife, you could potentially cut through really easily. Okay. And as you see, it starts to fall apart a little bit more as you start to cut through. Okay. And this isn't as fine of a dice as I normally do, but let's go ahead and cut into it. So let's see if there's any difference. Okay. Now, man, I'm wearing my glasses, so this is actually making my eyes water compared to when I normally wear my contacts. I don't run into an issue in this one. Let's compare them. There's probably not a very big distinguishing component to them. I mean, I feel like with these, you get a little bit more consistency in the size. And with the non-lateral, you end up with pieces sort of like that. And that's the only thing that sort of gets at me is when you have sort of these longer pieces in your dice. I don't think it really matters one way or the other versus something like this, but I don't know. It's those little pieces, just those longer pieces that I think come down to the preference. And with that, those are sort of my approaches towards dicing. That's sort of my thoughts on it. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.